Hello, everyone. What's up? How's everyone doing tonight? Welcome to our November Atomic Chat. As you can see from the screen and the odd greenness around him is Jordy has joined me tonight for the Atomic Chat, our first time with two people. Ooh. We ran into some technical issues, so if there are any more, please let me know. Because, there's bound to be a lot. But yes, welcome. I made an announcement already on our Discord, and I'll say it here at the top for people who are interested. We have just released, well, we're starting to actually link to our website now, which I'll put in the chat. Um, if chat will like me enough to let me do it. Let me see here. Here it is. There it is. We got our website working. Um, Alongside the newsletter that we have going now, Petite was awesomely able to set up a whole website for us through there. You can go there and look at a lot of information on our various shows. You can see information about us pending that we're still, that part is still being worked on as individual people and cast members. We'll have stuff there for all of us. But you can check out our shows. You can actually listen to our shows there. You can even watch this when we do Twitch streams from our website, which is kind of cool. So pretty excited about that. We'll be sharing more information about that as we go. Um, it is almost the end of November. I mean, it pretty much is, right? I mean, Thanksgiving is this week, and it's what, like, is there even? I don't even know days. I haven't looked at a calendar. Is it next Monday? That's next Monday is December, right? Okay, there we go. So yeah, look at that. It's coming up already. So to go over just the kind of general standard network updates real quick. We don't have a lot. It's November. It's going to be December. It's going to be kind of a chill time for our release wise things. So this month we had what episodes 107 to 109 of the Written and the Lost have come out this month. I know 109 just came out. I think it's so that would be 106. And we're on our way. Oh. Are you guys able to hear Jordy? No? Okay. Interesting. I've got them coming through on my end here. Let me see what's going on.
Though, this does honestly kind of feel like a mic check, where you just kind of blabber and you just kind of just ramble on.
Oh, is it working now?
Oh,
Oh, there it
hey.
is. Okay. I have to do a different setting for you than for me.
Ah.
And now you can hear it. I wasn't just talking to myself. Jordy was saying things. I know it's not too different sometimes. But yeah, so 106 to 109. If you're listening to the Written and Lost and all caught up, you'll know we're about to head off to a storm giant castle, potentially. It should be really fun. I'm excited to listen to it. The banter has been particularly amusing as of late, and I'm excited about the next one. If you've ever wondered what a can of soda that's not carbonated but is only about a quarter full sounds like when you open it, the latest episode will answer that question.
It's a piece of information I didn't know I needed in my life.
It's both like what I expected and not at all what I expected it to quite sound like. And it's both satisfying and completely like, oh, that's it, you know? But it's also like, oh, wow. It's such a weird moment to be a part of, and I'm happy I was there. So, yeah, this we're going into December. So, release wise for December, I believe it's just, or it's just like 3 episodes, right? Just the 8th, the 15th, and the 22nd. And then I don't think we're releasing on the 29th. Is that correct?
I believe that is correct. So
Okay,
that
we're
we would
taking a little
be
skip
out
for
for the
Christmas.
29th for Christmas and then out for the 5th because it's the first Monday, and then we're back on the 12th.
Yeah, so 3 more episodes till we get another little break there. It's been a exciting time for us also with scheduling. It is always a mess. As I've mentioned, I think a couple of times, we've recorded several episodes of Records of the Unknown season 3, and we've also so that's also been a fun time on our holiday schedules. But boy, has that been already right off the bat, out of the gates, really exciting. And hopefully it won't take me too long to get through it, but we'll see. We're giving some space here. It'll be fun. Other than that, for the rest of the year, that's pretty much all we have on the docket for release. Everything else is going to be on to the new year. So now's a great time to go catch up. If you haven't listened to the old Written and Lost stuff, now's a perfect time. If you haven't listened to our other shows like Records of the Unknown or that Starfinder playtest we did, or Tales of the Shadows, the amazing Blaze in the Dark show, that was a great time to listen to those. You don't have all this Written in the Lost keeping you busy, all these new releases. Now's the perfect time to jump in or listen to House on Valley Lane if you haven't. I've heard holidays is the best time for horror shows.
It's a Christmas tradition.
Yeah, escape your family horror show by listening to the one that I wrote for all of you. So that yeah, very quick updates today. Perfect time to have a guest like Jordy on. So, like I mentioned before, website, keep an eye on it. It's gonna keep growing. We'd love some feedback on it. If anything you notice might improve the experience. As I don't know if anyone here, any of our audience members, ever really went to our old website. I use quotations very strongly with that because Castos had the kind of built-in websites that separated all of our shows in a weird way. But if you were there, hopefully this is a quite an improvement over those things. A nice hub. I'm always a big fan of hubs like that. So being able to watch or listen to things on the website, being able to just check out the shows, who all's involved, would be great. We're hoping to kind of flesh that out over the next couple uh, weeks. Also, there you'll see a pop up immediately for the newsletter. So if you're not already in the newsletter, it'll be the absolute perfect time to sign up for the newsletter because it'll be in your face. And if it's already done and it's in your face, you just remember where you are when you click the little X button and say go away.
It's just like, shh, no, I'm already on the inside.
You don't have to remind me. Yeah, so obviously as I've been talking about, we are still testing the waters on the streaming ourselves. I did try and host a stream once for another group, and it broke down completely on my computers. I have a second monitor now. It's actually going pretty well. Hosting with 2 people already tons better than the last time I tried multiple people and having multiple streams running in my face. So that's great. It's already good. But Jordy, you're here.
Yes, I am.
For those of you who don't listen to Written in the Lost, I'm sure there has to be a couple people out there that listen to our other stuff but don't listen to Written in the Lost. This is Jordy. He is our illustrious host, GM of Written in the Lost, and one of our I don't know, co-founders, I suppose,
Yeah.
I would say. I thought something we could talk about to kind of get started out is so obviously we've been doing this a couple years now, doing various shows, Records of the Unknown, Written in the Lost, um, various other projects, and we try and do some offline gaming as well here and there, though maybe not quite as successfully scheduled as a lot of our on-air stuff, which also is not always successfully scheduled, but you know. I thought it'd be an interesting topic to kind of tackle of what it's been like for us GMing for shows and performances rather than just kind of having all of our friends at the table and playing the game. Obviously, there's still a level of it's still our friends and we're still having fun at the table, but there's a little more consideration we have to take into things. So I was curious about what your perspective on that has been over the last couple of years.
Yeah, so I think for me, the biggest aspect of running an actual show or an actual play show as opposed to just running a home game is the consideration of there being another participant. So you've got the game master and you've got each of the players sitting around the table. And then you also have to remember there's also an audience too. So there's sometimes stuff where it might be like, hey, if we were just goofing around here, we would just keep goofing around. But I'm like sitting there thinking to myself, yeah, but if I wasn't participating, if I wasn't a player here, is this still fun to hang out and listen to? So sometimes there's that additional layer of sort of just shepherding things. There's never any harsh, like, all right, you guys quit goofing off. We're here to work. It's more just like, honestly, for me, it comes in the pre planning of asking, okay, that's a cool idea, but how likely are we to get distracted if we do that?
That's interesting. So what you said of like you don't generally have to call rally as much during the game. So like for records of the unknown, when I'm running that's a game where I have to sit down with my players ahead of time and be like, listen, I know you guys are here and I need you to be here for the show. And like I'm actually very consistently I have to like let them go for a minute and then just be like, okay guys, you enough bits here. Let's roll back in, um, or just kind of letting Sometimes you gotta let people get it out, but then you lose a lot of recording time when you in like Records of the Unknown, where you have to, or we keep it very cinematic, and so we have to like lose a lot of that stuff, which hopefully will still get out to people in different ways for fun. But so you find like when you're at the table, it's not typically as much of a you don't have to feel very controlling at the table, but it's more so your pre-planning is just a lot more trying
Yeah,
to think ahead on your team.
yeah, I would say the pre-planning is really where it comes into play. There is some shepherding and guiding that happens during the adventure where
That's
sometimes there's a bit of like, hey, so out of character, you guys can do this, but here's what's going to happen if you go down this road. I would suggest this, that kind of stuff. But I try to keep that sparing because, we want to keep the story fun to listen to, but we also want to make sure that we're maintaining that fiction and keeping it fun to play at the table. Because my touch point that I keep coming back to is if we're not having fun, nobody's going to have fun listening to us.
it's true. That's why sometimes we just ignore you and keep going.
I can't say that that doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's fun. I like the vibe that Written in the Lost lets us kind of have because it's some of the other shows like Records is a lot more serious, trying to stay more serious minded, whereas Written in the Lost lets us do those big role play moments, but also lets us be really goofy off to the side and kind of at the same time sometimes, and sometimes kind of all over the place. Do you find that there's often much uh, like pressure on like the performance aspect of it for you more so than when you're just playing at home, or is it kind of just the same vibes for you?
For me, the vibes are very similar. I mean, to a certain extent. So I've had some performance experience in my background, so it's not too different for me to be, performing in front of my friends, for performing in front of a crowd. So just saying to myself, hey, there's an audience here. I got to keep the ball rolling. I'm used to doing that. Um, so there's a certain element of that that's like, I can't just constantly stop and go, hold on, let me think about the perfect way to say this. Got to keep the ball rolling. But at the same time, because it is a pre recorded show, sometimes there is just like, I completely trip over my sentence and I'm like, I don't even know where those words were going. Let me try that again. And then, sometimes those things will be left in because they're funny. Sometimes they'll be cut out because they're just distracting. So there's also that sense of reassurance of saying, just go for it. And if it's good or if it's funny, whatever's entertaining is what makes it through.
I mean, yeah, at this point we've had, I want to say, two instances where we pretty much recorded an episode and then threw it out because like it did not go well, and we are like, hold on, everybody, regroup, regroup. Like, what are we doing?
One of my favorite episodes, we were like, what, 20 minutes into the episode, and we literally just stopped and said, stop the recording. Okay, where are we going? What's the plan? And when we came back, it was like one of our best episodes ever.
Isn't that why we have the friggin' fig filler?
Yes,
Yeah,
that was the friggin' fig filler.
the friggin' fig filler. Such good stuff. I love a good memorable NPC and a good memorable scene. But yeah, sometimes you just have to stop, reassess, and like like you said, that's the benefit of having the pre recorded things is we have that ability to do so.
Mhm.
Um,
And it's a little off topic from the angle specifically of recording actual plays, but to me, that's one of the hardest lessons to learn as a young game master, is that you're getting started in the game, is that we try to keep the fiction going. We try to keep the story moving forward. But when it really needs to, you are totally justified to say, hold on, let's just go back in time and take it from this point. If you think that that's actually going to make the game more fun and make a better story, and everybody's on board for that, you don't have to commit to something stupid. If somebody says, you know what, I think it'd be really cool if I stabbed this character in the heart, and then like 20 minutes later it's like, I really don't like the fact that you killed my PC. Can we just turn back time? You can do that. It's your world.
yeah, I can't think of any moments. I feel obviously we've done stuff like not to that extent of like 20 minutes. We do stuff like that on Written and Lost a lot. I do stuff like that on Tales or Records of the Shadows a lot. I'll do a scene and I'll be like, no, that was not what I wanted it to be. So then it's like, let me rephrase it like this, or let me put this emphasis here. I try not to do it too much because you don't want to annoy or bore your table by like, hold on, I gotta say this just right and retake something like 10 times. But yeah, it's been very monumental, I'd say, especially in regards to a show more like Records of the Unknown. The more cinematic approach is like you have to kind of treat it a little more like an audio drama where you're taking multiple takes on things sometimes. Sometimes you just have to be like, I did that whole thing and I don't understand what I just said. Hold on, let me say it again and I'll phrase it to where I understand more of what my intent was, and then everyone can kind of be there with you. And like you're saying, at home, you should definitely feel free to do that. Obviously, it's just it how much you can do that will kind of depend on your table. Because like if you do it consistently at a home game, you're all just friends hanging out, and like how important is that? Is it taking that time more fun for your players? It could lead to more fun in the long run, but if it leads to like 10 to 15 minutes of like disconnection, is it worth it? Oftentimes, just a quick, oftentimes, really, I think the most often anyone wants to do those is like in the moment. It's just like I said a sentence, let me redo the sentence. Or I missed a cue, let me do that cue again. Hardly ever are you do you have the full like 10, 15 minutes. It happens, and that's okay.
So I'll give an example of a time in the past, not on a recorded show, way in the past, where if I had been a more experienced game master, I would have said, hold on, that doesn't happen. And so I'll be vague. I'm not going to go into all the details, but we had a guy, he had a storyline going for his character. And it was going to be this really epic moment where his character was overtaken by the devil that he was trying to hold back inside of his soul. And this finally came to fruition at an unexpected moment. He transforms, polymorphs into this devil. It's going to be really exciting. Everybody rolls initiative. Somehow, the summoned skeleton minion rolls a nat 20 on his initiative. So he goes first, walks up to this devil guy, rolls a nat 20 on his attack roll with the Vorpal sword the party had handed him, and just beheads the devil and completely destroys that plot line. And at the time, I was like in that mindset of we're slave to the dice rolls and we're going to just do whatever happens and we just keep rolling. But it really just killed that story and that momentum. It makes a funny story now to look back on. But, for the table, I think it would have been better for me to say, hey, this is a story moment. That skeleton minion, he's not just going to lop off your character's head. That just doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's the comedy is good because like obviously your group has its own comedic moments. That particular skeleton never hit anything in like 20 plus sessions we had it, and then rolls that at 20, and that's really funny to us. But one, I mean, letting things like that happen and just go with it, like you said, being slaves of the dice can break engagement with certain players or be disheartening because like this whole plot line you built up is now broken, and also like the potential, the storytelling potential there that was lost is like it's very high. Now, obviously, for a little more context, this was our first D&D game. This was the game where we got all of the gaminess out of our systems. It was the like we have all items we shouldn't have. Story is like, yeah, story's okay, and like we have a mixture of people who are like they're new to it, we're just gaming, and then there's a couple people, like one or two, that are like into the story, and that disconnect there of like playing really um, added a lot to that. But I think from there, like a lot of us learned, and that was probably a good example for us too of like what not to do, because like you said, just saying we're just gonna have it do damage, but not actually just kill you, could do a lot. But a lot of people who are new to the game aren't always thinking about it that way. I think right if we started now and we were all into podcasts the way we are, we'd probably be better about starting that way. But yeah, I don't think I've ever fully stopped to think about like that particular example in that way because I get caught up in it just being a really funny story because there's so many funny stories about that campaign, and that's the advantage to home stuff is you get to do the the wall off the rails things that you feel like would are boring for like 40 minutes and then really have a good payoff that you can't really do that in a show as well. But
Mhm.
and that's okay because people have usually 40 minutes of boring. We got snacks over there, people can just walk up and walk away and let people go. Because I think it was for me. So like we did that whole campaign. It's very gamey. Story stuff wasn't very thoughtful for me as a player. I was just like, yeah, I have my character. This is his setup, and I just have fun and just enjoy it. And then for me, I ran a small campaign of Call of Cthulhu, and that was the one that made me that clicked in my mind of storytelling as a game master in a tabletop role playing game. It was just like, oh, all these people have very interesting and compelling like plot lines, and I can thread them like this and add these horror elements in, and it was always great. I remember taking it as a point of pride, but now I'm not sure if that's something I should be as proud of. Is that like there were a couple people one night who were like wanted a ride back to their dorms because of the session and it was so dark outside. I was like, "Ah, yeah, I'm such a good GM. I scared people." And I'm like, "Is that actually like a good goal though? Sometimes to have might not be the most positive thing."
Well, it also depends on your genre. If you get that when you're playing like, you know, regular fantasy with no horror vibes in there at all, like maybe you pushed things too much. But if it comes in saying, "Hey, this is a horror game," and that's also where I appreciate the rising acceptance of setting table boundaries and the lines, the veils, that kind of thing, where people can have that session zero where they discuss what they're comfortable being included in the game and how far they're willing things to go.
Yeah, I think yeah, I've started doing some streams with like Don't Kill My Character and a couple other groups, and like I get to experience those because like amongst our friend group, we've been friends for so long, it doesn't feel like we need those sort of things. Hopefully, we would hope that like if something came up, someone would tell the other person. I guess a lot of us really don't actually technically like know like and I couldn't sit down and tell you what so and so and so and so's like lines and veils are. I just either we all have that intuition with each other or we just all like and hate the same things. But those getting with these other groups to see like I've never seen one of these lists before and I had seen it and gone through it and I was like, there are things in here actively that I would not have thought as being a thing to like consider. But there are also a lot of things where I'm like, I wouldn't do that anyway. But it's super, like you said, super good with groups. You don't always know each other,
Mhm.
and it just makes things simple. Like for the GM to be like, I'm telling the story, making the structure. I just don't include these things. I just don't include these things, and like it can help so much. As I've got the GM book of the Eclipsed, and I remember one of my favorite moments GMing that was I'd gone over all of the sheets, and I was like, okay, nothing I have messes with anyone's veils as far as I was aware, unless there's something I had missed. And we got to a point in like the third episode, there was third or fourth, there was the bug themed bad guy. And one of the players, Grant, he was like, oh, I can't do bugs, is what he said out loud. And I was like, oh no, is he speaking in character or is that a real thing? And I was messaging with someone off mic about this, and we are just like, oh no. And then he mentioned it was in character, and I was like, oh goodness, because like you don't want to subject people to that sort of stuff if it's gonna mess with them. Like horror is horror, but there's different kinds of horror. There's different genre of horror, and there's different ideas to play on. And you don't lines and veils. You can tell any kind of story you want while still adhering to those. Really, like as far as I feel, you can always tell a story hitting different things.
Mhm.
I think looks like comics lives. That comic live. I added a lot of s's on there. Had a question for us about the GM stuff. So that she said the two of you have very different GM styles.
True.
What do you see as each other's strengths? So real quick, just to the GM styles. I mean, as we've been doing this show, I've grown a lot in like discovering what type of games I like, how I like to run games, and I think a lot of us have found that. So yeah, so she asked like, what do you see as each other's strength? Jordy, I've you're much better at like running the game aspect of things. Like you're good at what's the word? The mechanical side is something that you always seem really strong on.
Mhm.
That's something I feel like kind of can get not necessarily overwhelmed. It feels so like time consuming and like it's really hard for me to put that like dedication level in because like man, we were playing when we were doing our Starfinder campaign back in the day. Like I just was like, screw loot. Like you guys, here's this level. You have this money. Just spend it. I'm not giving you stuff.
You're
This is too
talking
much.
about you're talking about our home game back before the show.
Yeah, back before the show, I was like, whatever. Just I'm not doing this part. I'm not doing this part. It's too much. Like I don't care about that stuff. I'm like, your ability to just so quickly like connect any mechanical point is very impressive
Mm.
to me.
I mean, I kind of understand that because mechanics has always been one of my favorite points. Back before we found Pathfinder, actually, I was writing my own fantasy RPG system because I was like, there's nothing that does what I want. And then we started playing Pathfinder 2E, and I was like, okay, this does what I want. So I still have a lot of ideas that I thought were really cool with my system, but I'm not really as motivated to make that system because this one does what I was looking for. But to answer that question the other way, I think if I had to pick out one strength from your GMing style that differs from mine, or maybe just not necessarily differs from mine, but just the biggest strength that I would consider is, ironically, because I know you don't like this trait in video games, um, when we're at the table, I feel like we're in an open world, that I can go anywhere, do anything, and interact with anything, and you're going to be able to just improv it and be like, yeah, you do. You go to the next town over and you talk to the innkeeper, and here's a character. Let's go.
It's true. I do not like open world games. I struggle with them. There's just so much. Give me some linear. Yeah, improv, that sort of stuff is something I feel like a lot of the streams really help with, which is very interesting because you don't have as much. But like just the shows, just playing and focusing on the story, playing, I feel like has just really opened that up for me a lot nicer. Sorry, I was thinking the stream might be doing weird things right now.
Yeah, it was kind of
Uh,
skipping for
something
me.
did something. Hold on. Let me try this. Hopefully that should have done it there. Nah, I think it. Hmm. The computer did a little jump and then everything's been slow. No, everything's slowing down. Try a couple things here.
It's seeming a little more stable than it was, but
Okay, everything seem okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
good enough.
Okay, that
Yeah,
should
yeah,
work
it's
for
back
now.
to normal. So,
Okay,
an example of what
awesome.
I'm talking about with that improv would be, again, jumping back to that Starfinder campaign you were just mentioning. Um, there was a moment where our characters were between plot points for the main quest on Castrovel, and I think we spent 2 or 3 sessions where we weren't doing anything to progress the main quest. We were just doing side quests, and the vibe that it had, it very easily could have felt like we're just wasting our time doing busy work. But really, the vibe that you were able to create at the table was, your characters are stuck on Castrovel and can't leave yet. What adventures do you want? You have an entire planet to go play with.
That is something I really like about Delta Green specifically, which is interesting to say because those the what modules are so open ended. I have found are just like they give you so much information ahead, like it front loads everything and then is like now go. And I've just I love that, and I've taken that to when I for Records of the Unknown season 2 and 3. I've written my own stuff for it, and just setting that up essentially is what I do always when I GM now. It's just like I try to front load myself and then just leave it open to just throwing in whatever needs thrown in, and then I just adjust all the time. So it helps mold it to the players and what they're aiming to do. Um, which brings me to another thing I wanted to point out about you. I'm gonna double dip and give an extra strength here. Your NPCs are just always on point. Like I love them. you always feels like you always know just when to throw in a ridiculous voice. Like in an upcoming episode, probably like 112 or 113, that made me Val. I had to like stop and be like, do I want to just kill this person? Like, it really added into a lot of it was that voice. I was just like, it just it just killed me, and I was just like, how it's so funny. Friggin' Fig Filler is another great example. But then you really know how to just like twist that and be like, and now Pilgrim's actually a really good example. He seems very like he's very much put forward as like a sort of troll. He's a little bumbling. He's not like he doesn't present as like super intelligent, but then like you'll always just like twist him just a little bit and make him say like give a really like touching scene or a really comedic scene with all those things, and it's just like you always defy expectations with NPCs, and
Mm.
I just enjoy them. They're always fun to play off of. And they're as bewildered as you are at some of the things we say, and I appreciate it.
I think the contrast is one of the main things that makes things stand out. So, I feel like sometimes, the characters are taking this game too seriously. It's time for an absurd character to show up. Or the characters are being a little bit too goofy. Let me just have a character show up and deadpan against them. And it can be both a counterbalancing force, but also a contrast. So, like, if the characters are being goofy and we want that to be funny, I'll give you a straight man.
I don't know. Did the Hag episode come out yet? The episode with the Hag?
Are you talking about the winter hag on the way, or the storm hag on the way to Gringir Forest? That was a while ago.
No, the old the old woman selling lemons
Y-
to Zephyr to Zephyr.
No,
Did that
that
happen?
we just did that.
We
That's in the
just did.
future, Sam.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
spoilers.
Okay, sorry. I was
Now
like, I
they
thought
know
that
that
was
there's
before.
somebody who sells lemons.
I'm sorry. Oh, the terrors. The people want Crass back. It
It
seems.
does seem that way.
I don't like Crass.
You're gonna have to petition to Petite. I think he's the one who always summons him.
It's yeah, that's true. Call out to Petite. I wish I knew how to delete people. We have a couple bots in the chat, and I do not know how to get rid of them in Twitch. Oh, never mind. It got taken care of. Wonderful. Speaking of happens, I suppose. Thank you. Let's see. And then there was more to that question. Let me pull that question back up. How did? Oh, right. Starfinder 2E. We did the dual GM thing.
Hmm.
That I like the idea of what we did, but I feel like we needed to put more. If, what I think we need to do in the future, if we do another one of things, I think you need to be the main GM,
Mm.
and I need to be the secondary GM because I was the main GM there, which meant you had no information to work with.
Yes, because that style, our two GMing styles, I think the main difference is I'm a planner, to use terminology from the novel writing world, specifically NaNoWriMo, the National Novel Writing Month. I'm a planner and you're a pantser. So I like to
It's
have
true.
everything written out, and I've got stat blocks and pre-made content. And Sam, you really like to just say, I know the vibes, I know what I'm going for, and we'll just make it up as we go.
Literally, the like book I'm writing, it's just like I'm not doing like a whole thing. I'm just writing and just going. That's how I write too. So like yeah, no, it's and that means like I'm sure you've experienced this with my character creation too. Is I have a lot of ideas that float around. When I say I front load my sessions, it's all in my head. I don't. If you asked me to explain what I had planned, it would not be anywhere near close. So like I enjoyed what we did with the Starfinder 2 of jumping back and forth, trading GMs, having the two parties. but I think it was overly reliant on me having like the story idea because I had a whole idea for what we were doing with the story. However, it's my story planning, which means it's not always as successful.
Mm,
Also, it was we did not get what we expected to get from the playtests either,
mm,
because we expected to have starship combat, and we expected to have the one starship, one ground group. We then had to change it up. I had a lot of fun doing it, and I think it came out really well.
mm,
It was not quite what we wanted when it comes to just the dual GMing. I liked what we did. I liked us
mhm.
playing in each other's bits.
Honestly, that was actually what I was going to say was probably, I think, the biggest friction point. And not necessarily something that couldn't be overcome, but because we were both players in the other person's part, then we had to be very careful about what we revealed. So we could say, here's the idea I'm going for, so you know what to wrap into your portion, but I'm not going to tell you what we're facing. I'm not going to tell you what challenges might come up so that you don't have spoilers for the adventure.
And that's something we probably need to just get over and just not worry about if we did it again in the future. I am so like actually on this point of double of co GMing, season 3 of Records of the Unknown, spoilers for that, just a little bit. Sven is in that campaign. He is not one of the players. He's essentially like a third party who gets to role play and insert things. He's almost like a silent code GM on the side, except not silent because he's talking. He's it's like here's a group playing a game and here's a guy doing like performance arts over to the side. Like but it's this amazing thing because he's I'm doing my normal GM style and he is there contributing and help guiding everything as like essentially an NPC in the game, but also like as an NPC at the table almost that he and I think that has proven to be something I'm very interested in as like a way of essentially having two GMs. I joked with him. I'm like, see, we're training you slowly to take to run a show.
It brings a
Uh,
whole new meaning to the concept of a GMPC.
oh yeah, it's like a GMPC. Instead, you call up your buddy and say, "Sit over there," and you play this character, but you're not actually a player. Uh, yeah, Sven's backseat Jimmy with a snacks and a pillow, except instead of snacks and a pillow, he's slamming his head into light switches. Listen, he's sitting in Abby's spot, so there's light switches on the back behind him. They are not there in his normal seat, and he throws himself back all the time.
I
We had a
thought
nice.
I thought you were doing like a somebody going into psychosis kind of thing. I didn't think Sven was actually slamming his head into light switches.
No, he actually slammed his head right back into a light switch. That's gonna be a fun show. Like, so if you listen to season 2 of Records of the Unknown, this is essentially what I did with Sven and Olivia. So if you listen to like the prologue, that little interlude, and the epilogue, we're basically doing that at the same time as doing the regular show, and it's working out phenomenally for that show. So I like that's when I'm thinking about it, and that's something I'd talk to you more about, Jordy. Possibly is like I feel like I would have fun in that kind of a slot with you as a GM,
Mm, mhm.
in the way of like as a co GM. Like I think there's real potential there for us, especially maybe I don't know how well I think it could work well in like a live setting, but like I think that works really well on a pre-recorded thing. Because there are times where Sven will do a whole thing and then say, "Never mind, never mind, that was bad, that didn't work," and we would just move on. Um, but that's been really interesting. But so that's something I probably talk to you more about as this progresses, as we
Mm.
record more and we see how it kind of actually pans out. It's been it's been fun. Um, you know, how did our differences play out in the Starfighter playtest? I don't know if I personally felt like our specific strengths showcasing over the other in it. It felt more like we were both a little closer to each other just because of our the lack of confidence in what we were doing.
Well, I think really the way that our differences played out, honestly, was that instead of, one of us taking the lead and saying this is how we're going to run the show, we were talking behind the scenes and doing during the pre-planning and everything, so that by the time we actually sat down to play the game, those differences had kind of met in a medium in between.
Mm. Plus, it was also a play test. So, like, I know me mentally, I was like, I wanted to try and be more in like a game first mindset
Hmm.
because I was like, we're testing a game that I don't know all of the rules to as much anymore. Typically, I'll settle into the rules and then I can kind of do whatever. Or I run like Book of the Eclipse and I run Mutants and Masterminds and don't know how combat works, but I make it work anyway, and, and things work out. But I think maybe that was part of kind of the neutralizing point in that was just that idea of it was a playtest, it was a new thing, it was a lot of fun. Starfinder 2 is out now, and I have some of the books in their paperback, and I love it. And I want something Starfinder on the network. We're just still talking about who's doing what. I love Starfinder. I ran Starfinder for 3 years. I played one game as a player, and I love that. And I love the setting. I love the whole thing. And like I've talked before, the mechanical aspect of me being a little weaker does not always translate as well as it could to Paizo games. I love Paizo games, but encounter design, loot, leveling, all that stuff, like there's a lot of it that I just want to be a little freer with, which I can be, but it's like maybe someone else would do a stronger fit for running Starfinder. So, where I know we're kind of just playing around with that some more, with some different ideas. Hopefully next year we'll see something Starfinder.
Hopefully, yeah.
That would be a goal there. People also keep asking us at like cons if we do like if we're Fallout related with the whole atomic thing, and I keep thinking we gotta do something Fallout so we can say yes to those people. And Nolan, I know a lot of the people are really into Fallout. I'm not. It's open world, first of all. Second of all, I got into Fallout 4 for a bit, and man, the open world's so boring. It's so dead in life, which is the point. It's supposed to be lifeless and dead. It's not
See,
fun.
I'm one
It's
of the Fallout New Vegas hipsters, so
I tried New Vegas and I was like, no. But that was after I was already have worn myself out on open world, so who knows? My opinion's invalid. Also, speaking of Atomic, someone also mentioned do we do Godzilla? There's a Godzilla role playing game coming out. It's at PAX U being tested right now. Might
so
have to do some kaiju funding.
with
That could
me
be cool.
being the connoisseur of films, I definitely understand how one could make a Godzilla role-playing game. But for those people who don't watch a lot of movies, how would that work?
I don't know. I only saw someone mention it exists. I saw a picture of it. I don't know if the intention is each player is a kaiju. I don't know if the intention is people are people while the kaiju is happening. I don't know. I need to look into it. It sounds. I love Godzilla. My wife and I have a whole Toho collection. It is amazing. And have not seen a single one? You haven't even seen like the 2000s American Godzilla? Like that feels like one right in your range of when you saw random movies.
Oh, sure, I've definitely seen every single Godzilla film that's ever come out. Wait, no, hold on.
Oh,
I
is
saw
it?
a scene from a Godzilla movie while I was in the hospital flipping through TV channels.
Okay. Well, write that down as like what the 14.1 movie you've seen. um, I had another big topic, didn't I? But we don't have a lot of time for topics at this point. So, uh, real quick, Written in the Lost, we've moved into season three, essentially book three, if
Yeah,
you will. Um, Definitely not equal seasons.
no.
They've been very different. Season one was what, 32, 31 episodes.
Yeah. something like that.
Season 2 is like 80. So, getting into book 3, obviously, if you've been listening, a lot of big things have changed. Significant, basically, the story structure is fairly different. What's happening is new to the, the players, at least as far as any of the characters can remember. This is all new to them. Who knows? There's several people who might have dealt with this in the past and have no idea. We don't know. But what? So this we've done 100. It was 103 episodes before moving on to this and taking the break. What is that like going into this season? So like this setup is a little different. You've had 103 episodes, and you have kind of it seems like we've talked a little bit more about time, like how we want things to pan out.
Mhm.
How is that going for you prep wise moving into book 3?
I think timing wise, things are going to continue to be a little bit unpredictable. And part of that is because I can plan a certain amount of content for the main plot line, and I have a certain amount of content that's planned slash prepared for each of the characters' individual stories. But the real question is, when do things happen and how quickly do certain plot lines progress? So we might have one chapter that ends up being really long because we progress 3 or 4 different personal quests during that chapter, and then next chapter we don't do anything. We just hit the main quest and move on. So overall, though, I think I'm getting a better sense for the pacing. That was one of the big shifts that I thought of earlier, and I just didn't mention the difference between a home game and a recorded show that we were experiencing is to get those nice episode lengths took a lot of trial and error to get the feel for how much to include, where to find that stopping point. So it's not just like, well, the clock says it's been 74 minutes and we had about 4 minutes that we had to cut out. So stop the show.
Stop the show! Stop. Yeah, because originally it was the idea was like what 40, 50 to 40 minutes to an hour was kind of what you wanted for each episode, and I think we
Yeah.
started out with like consistently like an hour and a half on so
Yes.
many episodes. It was a lot, and yeah, I'm looking through right now, but we've got a lot of 40. It feels really long. Like obviously we cut a lot, and I'm just constantly like, are we running these episodes too long? Like should we be breaking early? But apparently we're still getting under an hour. So what do I know? I'm not the editor. Jacob's the editor, and he does excellent.
He
He
does.
knows what's what. So do you with the characters like arcs, like you mentioned, as they're coming up for the round 3 or book 3,
Mhm.
how do you feel about like where the characters are, where you kind of I'm sure you've talked with some people about where they need to be. I'm sure some people are just leaving it completely in your hands. How are you feeling about like just the party moving into this book?
Simultaneously really satisfied and really terrified because we've got stories that are really shaping up really well, and I'm really excited with the pacing and where things are going. And then there's other stories where the potential is so high, and I'm just like, I guess in a sense, getting stage fright of like, this could be so good, and I don't want to screw it up.
Where's Hamir at? I want to know. You haven't told me. I haven't seen him in a while. What's he doing?
Oh, he's just haymaring around. I mean, I will tell this to you, Sam, because you know where we're at right now in the story, which of course is a little bit ahead of what's been released.
That's true.
Uh, Jacob and I have been in discussions about where exactly Hamir is and what he's doing and where he will be.
Well, I hope so.
But I will answer your question more directly with one of my famous quotes. Now, how would you know that?
Man, that's a character I wish I played more. I wish me now could go back and play that character. I feel like he would be more. I'd be more satisfied. I loved Hamir. I had a lot of good fun time with him. I like how everything worked. There's just some moments where I was like, I should have done this, I should have done that with him. But it worked out really well. And I'm like, I'm looking forward to seeing him some more. Just because he's still my character technically. even though he's definitely a whole different thing now at this point. I have one more thing to wrap up the written in the last discussion. Um, I had it, and I lost it. You distracted me with Hamir. The question I asked. Oh, so book two. Um, how has it been? This will be two questions. First question though, how has it been for you as a GM introducing new characters? So we had two new characters. How have you felt about like saying goodbye to characters, bringing them in? How has that felt for you from the GM perspective?
It's been the least contentious new characters. So our previous campaign we played before the Written and the Lost featured a lot of the same players, and we had two character deaths that resulted in new characters, and one character that just abandoned the party and then came back later. But these characters, the new characters that we've introduced this time, were both fully intentional, like story moments that we went into, and not necessarily something that was planned from step one of like this is definitely going to happen and it's going to happen here, but something that was worked out in conjunction between the player and the game master, so that when it happens, it wasn't a oh well the dice said you're dead, so roll up a new character, and sometimes that can be fun. If you're playing that kind of game and it says, "Oh, sorry, the dice say you're dead. Roll up a new character," that can be fun. But I really appreciate where we've been with this campaign so far, that we can really get that sense of life is important and everybody's got a story to tell.
Yeah, the threat is there. It's just not maybe as big of a threat as it could be,
Oh, I mean, I could
essentially.
stop pulling my punches. I mean, what?
I mean, I'm already the only marshal and almost dying all the time. Going off of that, how did you feel about bringing in such a temporary character as Einar? So, like, you set him up to be temporary, but from my understanding, you weren't settled necessarily between you and Sven on whether or not he was actually going to disappear at the end.
So, yeah, the intention with Einar was that he was always going to be a temporary character, and that Uver was still Sven's main character, and he was going to come back to him. And the question was sort of a mix of how long will Einar be there, but also when Einar stops being Sven's active character, does that mean he's gone, or does that mean he's just being benched or being relegated to an NPC, like Uver was when Einar was taking the driver's seat?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
So
cool. I really liked how Einar came out. It was a very good storyline. I really liked it. It was great. And then when are we gonna level up again? I'd like. I mean, I guess we just leveled up, but I'd like to level up again. Could I?
you know what? You know what?
I'm ready.
You finish this chapter and you can level up, okay?
Oh, thanks. I'm so excited with where we are right now. I wasn't sure how long this particular part was going to be, and I'm happy it's a little longer. So I hope everyone gets excited for what's coming up because you should.
Oh
There's
yeah,
a lot of funny. There's a lot of really, really crazy stuff happening right now.
the
We're
episode
like,
the episode we just finished recording was probably some of the most fun I've had GMing against you guys, and I'm not going to say in forever, but in a long time, where I don't know, there was just something electric in that scene of just we're all there.
it was great. The characters were all locked in. It was a really different but great environment we've been put in. So I'm excited. I want to be there so I can talk about it more, but I can't because you people are here. You all go away. Let me talk to.
Well, I
Oh man,
think, won't that episode be out by the next live chat?
is it? Is it within the next three? No, we're still gonna be in the cloud giant, aren't we? We're still gonna be dealing with the castle.
Oh, you're right. You're right. My
It's good.
math is wrong. It's going to
These are
be
New
like
Year
two
episodes.
lives.
I'm excited, and you guys can't hear about it till next year. It's crazy. Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about the streaming stuff, but I think we'll wait till next time because it's about time to wrap up. So,
Do you have like a,
uh,
do you have, I haven't been around for one of these before. Do you have like a closing song?
no,
Oh,
uh, I was gonna just to mention to the people I've talked about some. We have a lot of streaming ideas for the new year. We're working on tech stuff right now. Obviously, we got two people here, two whole people, because we're testing things out. We have some ideas. It's gonna try. We're playing it up. I'm gonna start. It's like there's so many things I can talk about in regards to this, but there's also so many things I can't that I'm like going back and forth and tripping over myself. I want to talk about. We have stream stuff coming next year. I want to set the press like set the stage here to say obviously we've mentioned before we don't have a ton of time for all of this stuff. So one way to mitigate with that is we're going to hopefully be bringing on a lot of guests on our free streams, which is going to be exciting. I love getting more friends. I love getting more voices on the channel, more perspectives. It's always great, and I've gotten to meet a lot of awesome people that I would want to continue to do stories with. But also, even with that, I've only got so much time. Everyone's only got so much time. So we're gonna start streaming next year, but it's not going to be like consistent, I guess is the best way to put it. We'll do a show, we'll take a break. We'll do a show, we'll take a break. I don't know how long those breaks might be. We don't know how long those shows might run. We're not going to burn ourselves out doing it. We're not going to just make sure, oh, we're going to do a stream every other week, all year long. I remember earlier on, I was like, we have to do that. Probably we need to get going because that's how you retain audience. But like, retaining audience is great. You guys are awesome. We love having you, but we also need to take care of ourselves. So I'm working out a schedule, a plan for all of that with that in mind of what times work for people, both internally and externally. I have a I already have a couple of show ideas. Obviously, we have potentially you might see things like the Fallout going there or like Godzilla there. We're still playing out like what do we want to be live? What do we want to be pre-recorded like mini shows? We love doing the pre-recorded stuff. Podcast is I think most everyone in our group in Atomic Broadcasting generally prefers the podcast format over the live stream format. However, we also really like playing for more than like an hour an episode. So like streams open that up where we can just sit and play a little longer. It lets the community be a little more involved. We get to just play and have a little more fun with it while just performing visually. Because I know a lot of us are are visual performers, and I will cite Sven being super excited and constantly hitting Abby, almost hitting Abby all the time. We love being able to like show that, and so that's going to be exciting, and it just also will allow us to put out more content whilst not burning our editors who
mm.
are already ebbing and flowing on their burning due to this stuff. Jacob is kept super busy. We keep him down in the basement. We keep him working day and night. We check in on him. We bring ham. We'll bring a honey baked ham. We'll slide it under the door, and it was to tell him keep working. And then Petite is either like got nothing going on, or it's like here's three projects, here's four projects, and it's a lot. We're very grateful that we also have um, our third editor, our mystery editor, who filled out a form actually for our thing. I haven't seen it, so I don't know how she would want to be referred to. So I don't want to say anything necessarily, but you might get to actually know a little more about our other editor who's doing one of our pre-recorded shows. She's great. It's been great to have another additional set of work hands so that but it's not another thing for one of the two of us like Petite or Jacob to have to burden themselves with. So it's been great getting to meet lots of people who can help and who are willing to. And that's been great. So I'm looking forward to getting this opportunity to do more of these streams with people. I hope to have more guests consistently on Atomic Chat, so it's not just me. Might do some more little interview things. Might do just have a different part member of the Atomic Broadcasting on every month. I don't know. Some people might want to be here. Some people might not want to be here.
Yeah, this was fun.
Oh, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad I didn't have as much prepared as I intended to, but we did it. I think it's good. We get to talk. Listen, me and Jordy like work at the same place, so we do talk like a lot. But also, like, I actively try not to talk about tabletop games with my friends. We do it all the time, and like I try not to. So like we actually don't talk about this level of stuff very often. And so it's nice to have a place to do that. Um, so it's wonderful. I really enjoyed this. This was fun. I'm glad it worked about 94%. I still don't know why you're green.
Well, it's because
Those
I'm
are
new
those
here. I'm
those are visible on
inexperienced.
Twitch, right? You guys can see those. We tested this 2 days ago. That wasn't there. I don't know what it is. And I can't figure it out, but hopefully that'll be fixed up later. So that's gonna be it from us, I guess, today. I hope you guys had a great time. If you want to see, stay in contact, you can follow here. You can check. You can be continually checking the website, the newsletter, which we now have signed up. You can go to the website, sign up there, or one of the links I posted around places. You can join our Discord. That's the best place. People are
Oh yeah.
talking it up there, giving good mornings, talking about the new episodes of Written the Lost or old episodes. There was one old episode that got some chats on it, and that was fun. Cause it really reminded me of like, oh, hey, I remember that episode. It's been so long. Things were so different back then. It hasn't. It feels like it's been so long since the six episodes in the '60s because it has been, and it's scary to think about. It doesn't feel like we've been putting out stuff very long.
My quick plug for the Discord, if there's anybody who doesn't use Discord or they haven't been in one of these communities
Hey, it's
before,
you.
it's like it's a split between like a chat room and a forum. So there's spaces where you can just hang out and talk with people that are in the same community, but there's also places that are like dedicated for conversations. So if you want to get in somewhere and talk about a topic, there's a space for that. So it keeps the conversations organized.
I listened to the latest episode, and I remember me calling you out. Not calling, but me looking at you and you calling yourself out about you not using the Discord, Jordy. And I saw the other day when you made posts,
I post there sometimes,
and I
occasionally. I'm always there lurking.
are you though?
I am. I may not say anything, but I am with you all in spirit, and I'm reading what you say.
It's a great time, and if you want to help support us, obviously, liking, following, sharing, all those things do a lot for us. We do have a Patreon. Um, we're not actively putting anything on the Patreon right now. There's internal reasons for that. But we have some plans for the new year to do some more stuff next year in there. Right now, there's a lot of free stuff there right now. If you just want to join in on that community, we've got bloopers from some Delta Green stuff. We've got a live performance on a stage that me, Olivia, who all was there? Jordy and Steven.
Mhm.
Yeah, Jordy and Harold. They were all there. We did a little goblin, two skits about goblins going into a haunted house. Super fun. You don't even have to pay for that. You can just go and listen. It was the best place for us to put it. If you do pay, you can listen to an episode of Oops, which is an upcoming scripted horror comedy show. You can listen to that whole episode there. If you don't pay, you can listen to the intro and see, is this worth paying for? I think it is. That show will hopefully be coming out early next year. It's almost done being edited. It has been a 3-year journey or more on this show, and boy, I chose the most time consuming workhorse show that I've written so far to be our first thing. Every other show I've written afterwards has been so much easier to put together. It's a learning experience, and I'm looking forward to seeing it out for people to see. There's also a if you're a big fan of Written and Lost, if you pay for Patreon any amount, we don't care about how much you give. There's also a side quest adventure that ties in to the Soul Stones. You get to learn a lot more about those. If you listen, there's a couple of great people who play in that game that Jordy runs. I'm not there. I don't. I still haven't listened to them myself.
You gotta
Uh,
pay. You gotta pay, Sam.
I don't. I don't. I don't have any money to give to myself, but I know it's a good time because I know the people who are in it, and it's definitely worth watching. If you like Nolan, you need to listen to Tales of the Shadows, our Blades in the Dark game. If you don't know who Nolan is, you need to listen to Tales of the Shadows, our Blades in the Dark actual play.
If you don't know
If
who Nolan is, you need to listen to anything other than Written in the Lost.
that is true, he's in everything but that. If you love Olivia, she's also in Tales of the Shadows. If you love Jenkins, he's running it. He's the GM, and he's awesome, and he's fabulous. You guys should check it out. It's a heist game set in like a dark Victorian supernatural thing. It's super cool. Petit's also there, and he's Irish, and he's good at it. Unlike me, my Val Scottish is not great, but Petit sounds great. I like Petit's voice.
Ugh.
You know, ah, we do a lot of stuff. We have so much stuff, and I'd love for you guys to check it out and to let us know how you like it. Next month we'll boy, what is it? December 20, is it December 20? It's December 29th. That's my birthday. We'll do a birthday stream next
Woo.
month. Look at that. I'll have 12 people on here with me. No, I won't. Um so I actually potentially that might be it might be rescheduled next month cuz it's my birthday. But it might not be. So December 29th we'll be back. I have no idea yet if it'll be me and someone else, just me. Keep your eyes plugged on the newsletter, Discord, all that. Well, newsletters, I probably won't know by the time the newsletter's out. The newsletter comes out next Monday,
Ooh.
is issue 2 of the newsletter. Get on there. Listen to it. Don't listen to it. Read it. If you have a text to speech device, listen to it. It's a. Anyway, I think it's gonna have a loving personal article by Olivia, so it'll be great. Good place to keep up with what's going on. Obviously, there's not a lot coming out aside from just the old tried and true Written in the Lost coming at you. 3 episodes. Holiday break. Enjoy. If you celebrate Thanksgiving, enjoy your time with family, please, as best as you can. I know it's not always easy for everyone, but enjoy, safe travels, have fun, and have an atomic time.
See you next time, everybody.
Thanks. Love you guys.